Welcome back to Makeup a Love Story. It is the day after Thanksgiving, so it's Black Friday and everybody's out shopping. So I'm at home filming. I have partaken in some of the online shopping stuff, but I have not been brave enough to get out in the crowds yet. I may get out a little bit later when the craziness dies down. I live in Alabama, and so there was actually a shooting in Birmingham in one of the malls, and so I really hate that it's gotten to that kind of level where you can't even go into the malls, where you have to worry about shopping and there being such craziness these days. So someone actually, I believe, died in that instance. So my heart goes out to all the victims in that situation. Today I'm going to be doing a palette showdown and talking about why I would or wouldn't recommend to my audience bigger versions or even small versions of some luxury brand palettes. I really want to be able to recommend products that are worth the money on my channel, and also products that are reasonable for the money. I never want to get out there with money and craziness price-wise, because I know what I can afford and what I can't afford. So we're going to kind of do a showdown today, which is kind of exciting to me because I had this idea just knowing what I bought and what I kind of want in a bigger palette with these luxury brands. I really want a bigger palette or a bigger product from both of these brands, but based on the minis from these brands, I know which one I think would probably be the better product. So I want to kind of talk about that. But first, I'm just going to kind of talk to you guys a little bit. Makeup a Love Story started with me telling you guys that I got into makeup because it soothes me, and it really does. And so I was thinking about these products, and I keep putting my hands in front of my face, so I need to stop that because you guys are going to be like, we can't see you if you got your hands in front of your face. When I am down or when I'm depressed, I get in my makeup and I play, and it just brings me back to a level that is so soothing. And playing with a different lipstick or a different product, it calms me. And so that's one reason I just love makeup. I will get online and get lost in looking at the new releases and the new products, and I know that sounds silly to some people, but it's just something that just is really interesting to me. When I didn't want to leave my house, some days I would just put on makeup and stay home. And that was just a release for me. I have had some really dark days in my life, really dark. And that's part of my story that's going to come out through my channel, and it's kind of part of my documentary, which is part of my journey. And that is part of my love story. Makeup has been a big part of my life. Sitting here for hours doing a full face of makeup will help you forget your problems for a couple of hours, and that is just a big release. And then when you look at your face and you feel pretty again and forget about the junk and the drama and the ugliness that's going on, then it just makes you feel a little bit better. So that's a little bit more about my story and why I love to get into makeup and forget about what's going on in my life. So anyway, what I want to talk about today in my palette showdown is the Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership Sublime Bronze. And one of the reasons that I want to talk about this is I've been thinking about getting an actual Mothership, like the big full-on palettes, and those are around 120, 150, I think they're 120 something dollars. This was actually, I believe, $55 at Sephora when they launched, and I couldn't pass it up. One reason I want to talk about this is a mini palette of hers, really, because she does make these they're 6 pans, And so this is considered like one of her mini palettes. So when you compare her mini palette to a Natasha Denona mini palette, and this thing is tiny. I mean, tiny. We're talking it'll bitty. So when you compare a Natasha Denona palette, and her big palettes are definitely $120. And I'll look in just a minute to confirm exactly how much they are. By the way, I am wearing a reindeer shirt today because I figure we're through Thanksgiving. I can actually wear a Christmas shirt for my channel today. But when you compare a Natasha Denona mini to a Pat McGrath mini, that's what I want to do today. It's a battle of the minis. So we're talking, her mini is $25, and I want to go ahead and open this up. We're $25 for this little bitty product. It is so small, and it just doesn't do much for me to pay $25 for this. But to test the product, to decide if you want to pay for the full product, this is actually a mini of one of our bigger palettes. So I decided, I returned a different palette and picked that one up. And so I decided I wanted to test that because I wanted to see if it was worth it to pick up a larger one of her palettes. And I do want one of her palettes, the gold, the Natasha Denona gold. This is, and I stuck my fingernail on this, I'm so sad about it. This is the inside of the Pat McGrath palettes. This shade right here is actually the one I have on my lid today, and it is a beautiful duochrome. And I don't know if you can see, but it reflects like a red, almost bronzy color. It's so beautiful. I'm going to swatch these in a minute. I've worn this all over my lid too. It's gorgeous. I've actually blown out my lash line with that. It's so pretty. When you compare these two palettes and their prices, you get much larger pans in the Pat McGrath palette. So I'm going to talk about the Pat McGrath palette first. And I'm going to read from the Sephora website about both of these. So what the description is of the Pat McGrath palette: it's a palette of tawny neutral shimmer and velvet pigments with 2 burgundy and emerald jewel tones that work in tandem to dress in warm luxury. So it is definitely a neutral palette with this pop right here, this emerald pop. And they are definitely velvety. These matte shades are velvety. I always deepen my outer corner with this color, and it blends without even trying. Deepening up your outer corner is sometimes one of the hardest things to do if you are a beginner or not used to doing makeup, but you don't even have to try with that shade. It's just so easy. So, sorry, I got a little lost there, but it's wonderfully warm. It says it's glamorize your lids, slay with style and splendor. These are supposed to be good for eyes that are aging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch a few of these. Let me look on the site at the Mothership palettes. By the way, Pat McGrath and Natasha Denona were both having some sales on their sites. I actually think that the sales on the Pat McGrath site were more interesting for Black Friday. I did order a couple of things, not a complete Mothership, but I got a lipstick. Okay, the Bronze Seduction is $125, so I was correct that they are around 120 something price range. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch this row for you. Now, as you can tell, this shade right here and then that one shimmer is really, really faint, but it's a great inner corner highlight. This is what you use to kind of build up your transition, and then that emerald is, of course, stunning. Then I'm going to wipe off my fingers. Dry them. Take my watch off. Now, this is what you can build up your outer corner with. This is what's on my lid. And then this is that other shimmery color. Guys, this palette is just stunning. It swatches well. It blends on your eye. Amazing. I haven't had any fallout with it. What I had planned to do initially was to use one palette on one eye, one on the other eye, and then show you the difference in the blendability and how they appear. But I took my bracelet off so I can swatch on this arm because this one's a little wet and I don't want the shadows to, I don't want that to affect my swatches. But I'm actually going somewhere after this video, so I didn't want to look crazy. So I think that this palette swatches well, it wears well, it's beautiful. It would make me want to buy a larger palette. Would I recommend to my audience that they have to go out and buy a larger palette because this one is just so amazing and luxurious? No. Would it make me want to? Possibly, because I think it's something that I would want in my collection in the future as somebody who's into makeup and wanting to do videos for reviews. But would I go into debt for it? No, definitely not, because it's not something that you have to have. People who love luxury makeup definitely would want it, definitely would want a larger version of it because it's beautiful, it blends out seamlessly, and it's something that is gorgeous on your eyes. It is so easy to use. The duochrome shade is beautiful. So it's a killer palette and she did a great job. This is part of her Christmas collection. So this one is actually limited edition. If you want it, you probably should go get it. There are actually 3 in that collection. I will try to post pictures of the other 2. One is an all shimmer and the other is more cool tone, and it's really pretty too. I had a hard time because I'm really into the cool tones right now, but that one was just calling my name. So let's talk about Natasha Denona right now. The gold palette is the one that I'm really pulling towards. It is gorgeous, and one of the main reasons is the lime. There's a lime, and I'm going to post a picture of the gold palette that's the large palette that I've been wanting. The Natasha Denona gold has this undertone where all the colors are gold based, but they all have a different undertone. So there's one of the golds has a shift of gold and lime, and so when you put it on your eye, the gold has a very duochrome lime green look to it, and so this gold transforms into a lime, and it's so beautiful. And so it's very unique. It's different than anything that's really out there on the market, and it has really good reviews. So a lot of her palettes have great reviews, but some of her palettes use different formulas, so I don't really like that. Now, a lot of the people who review her smaller palettes say that they're not as good quality, and so I would think that if you're going to make these smaller palettes, you would use the same formula, so it would make people want to go out and buy these larger palettes. But to cram 5 shades into this small palette for $25 and then make me think that I would want to go out and buy this large palette, it just doesn't. So I did use this on my eyes, and it was an okay look, but it wasn't great. So I'm going to read about the Natasha Denona Mini Star. And let's see. It's supposed to be a holiday mini palette. It's 5 shades from the existing Star palette. They're long lasting with strong color payoff, extremely buildable, blendable, don't crease. They adhere to the eye even without primer. Let's see. It says that it talks about how she's internationally renowned. It's supposed to be extremely buttery, creamy, easy to blend, long lasting. I did have a decent eye look, but I had to really work with these shades. So what I would say about that is you have to really work with this little palette. And when I say work with it, you have to use a wet brush, you have to use your finger. So it wasn't like I got the look without a lot of work. So would I recommend this little palette to anyone? No, definitely not. I reviewed it on a website or two and said, you know, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone who's a beginner. Matter of fact, as I'm holding it up, I'm having some fallout from it. So I definitely wouldn't recommend it. Some of the shades are chalky, the matte shades, and the duochrome, you have to use a wet brush to build it up. And I literally had to dip into it several times. So I'm going to swatch some of the shades. Or I'm going to swatch all of the shades, actually. Let's see. Move my fingers. I'm going to go ahead and do all the swatches, and then I'll show you my arm. Okay, so here are the swatches, and if you can tell, that is the duochrome right there. I would even need to build these up to just get the swatches accurate for you. This one is the really chalky one, but they just look muddy even. See the duochrome? It is a very pretty duochrome, but on your eyes it doesn't look like that. It just, not a fan. If you purchase one of these, it doesn't make you want to go out and buy one of her palettes. But if you see a review and you've watched some of the other YouTubers and you know that you can trust their reviews, and you know that formula, and you can just tell from looking at the shadows, even in the pans, that those shadows are going to perform better than these. It's just a simple fact that this doesn't perform like those other shadows, those larger pans. It's just not a good formula. I would not purchase this. I would not recommend this. I will probably list this on Poshmark. Not a fan of it. So I wouldn't recommend that. So would I, if I were going to recommend to people a Natasha Denona versus the Pat McGrath, I would probably say a Pat McGrath palette based on minis. Do I think that the gold palette would be worth the purchase if I were saying, is a luxury palette worth it? Probably, but I don't know. I haven't actually tested it myself, but I've watched several reviews, and I know several friends that have the gold palette. I just haven't bit the bullet and bought it myself based on this. When you see someone using this and saying that they love it, they may truly love it, or they may love it because it's Natasha Denona and they want to love it. Or maybe they truly do and I just got a horrible one. I don't know. But I've actually watched several other YouTubers say that they just can't make this work. And it truly is very hard to make it work. You have to really work with it. And you shouldn't have to work that hard to make a luxury makeup item work. If you're spending $25 on a bunch of teeny eyeshadows, they should perform for you. They should do circus tricks. So I guess my theory in that is what I would recommend to my audience. If you want a palette and you want to just spend money on one palette that you can use all the time, forever and ever, then run out and pick up something like the Urban Decay Born to Run, or an Anastasia Beverly Hills palette that you would use every day, something like Modern Renaissance, or go out and look at the NYX palettes, or something that that you would pick up every day and use over and over and over again. There are several affordable brands out there. If it's not something that you're into, like high-end makeup or fashion. Now, if you are into luxury makeup and you want to test out a brand like Natasha, Denona, or Pat McGrath, then you need to really try their mini palettes first and decide for yourself if you really want to bite that bullet. You can also look on Poshmark and things like that if you trust those kind of places. It's kind of scary for me because you don't always know what you're getting in those situations, so I would be careful with that. Maybe your friends may have a palette that you can try or test if you're comfortable with that as well. But as always, be safe, because you do need to protect your eyes. They're something that you use to see with. So with that being said, I hope that you're all enjoying your love story, and go look for deals while it's the holidays, because all these brands are going to be running specials and doing deals. I did pick up some Pat McGrath stuff, so I'm really excited about that. I think that I'm going to hold off on purchasing anything from Natasha Denona for now and kind of see what she comes out with in the future. If I find a really good deal on the gold palette, I might pick it up later, or maybe somebody will gift it to me, or I'll get a Sephora gift card. But for now, I'm loving this eyeshadow right now from Pat McGrath. That bronze Sublime palette is phenomenal, and that duochrome is everything. I mean, it is. And these eyeshadows, they just blend out without question. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to beg them to work for you. So that is something that I love about it. Don't spend all your money at the Black Friday sale, because you do have to buy other people Christmas presents. So I hope that you are all thinking about other people too. I have to keep reminding myself that I do have to shop for other people. So I hope that you are all enjoying your love story. I hope that my showdown taught you that you don't have to just buy luxury brands, that there are more affordable brands out there as well. But the showdown between the mini palettes, I would definitely say that I would probably pick this one as my favorite. And I'm not saying that Natasha Denona is not great. I'm just saying that the mini star palette wasn't for me. But this is life. I use this even when I'm using Stila shadows on my lids. I will just go in with the mattes in this one, pop a Stila shadow on my lid, and it looks beautiful. So Pat McGrath, you have my heart. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to my audience. Oh, don't forget to subscribe, like, share me with your friends, and keep enjoying my love story. You guys are amazing, and thank you for watching my video today. If you have any suggestions for future videos, or you just want to, show me some love, then please do, and leave any positive comments in the comment section. And even if you have some constructive criticism, you can leave that, but do it in a nice way. And I just appreciate you guys watching. I hope you love my deer shirt. I'm ready for some Christmas, and I love you all. Please enjoy your love story, keep making one, and I will see you in my next video.